G'day everyone, Viv here. I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back. It's time for another Saga battle report. This time again, the Irish versus the Vikings. We've got to play until these Irish get a victory. It will also help me learn the battle report, the battle boards, and how the different factions play a little bit better than the couple of games that I played with each of them so far. So, the Vikings have pushed a little bit further inland into Ireland and come up a little against a little hammer, a little village. We're going to play the Homeland. Is it Homeland scenario? We'll talk about it when we have a look at the board properly, but I'm pretty sure it's called Homeland. Yep. All right. Let's have a look at the board, meet the forces, and get this game going. Okay, here is the battle board. Again, it is a 3 foot by 4 foot board, 4 foot long, 3 foot short. On the bottom side of the table, on your side of the table, are the Irish. Now, I don't have separate buildings. I've only got them attached to the bases of these little scenic bases, but the mission calls for 3 separate buildings to be placed within, sort of not within long of the table edges. I think this one's been moved a little bit because Charlotte was in here earlier on, dragging things around. And they're not supposed to be within medium of each other. So these two are obviously within medium, they're within short of each other, but nothing I can do about it. Anyway, so it's a 4-point game. The mission from the rulebook, sort of called Homeland, it's scenario number 5, does state that at the beginning of the game, the players sort of play a little mini game, sort of voting, I suppose. Is voting the right word? No, it's not. I don't know. Bargaining for who's going to be the defender. So I've just said, look, the Irish are defending here because we're playing like a little campaign scenario here. Anyway, let's get on with this shit. The Vikings are, the Irish are set up in the buildings here. So you might be able to see down the bottom here some of the forces. The Irish consist of their warlord and their hound here on the village front, the village edge. In this building and at the back of the table here are 1 unit of Irish warriors with javelins. In this middle building and the rest of the men at the back there are another unit of Irish warriors with javelins. And in this far hut on your left-hand side is a unit of Hearthguard with Dane axes. Now the roofs on these buildings don't come off because I didn't think about that when I was making them. I might make some more, who knows, who cares, let's get on with it. So that's the Irish forces. They're bunkered down in these hills. Their mission or their scenario, basically their victory conditions, is to survive 6 turns. If there is Irish occupying one of these huts at the end of the 6th turn, they win. On the other side of the table, moving in, they get to start within anywhere on the table that's not within long of a building. Oh, these guys might be a bit close. Let's just shuffle this back. She's probably been moving things around. Not within long of a building. So, what have we got? Same force we had last time. Out on the Vikings' left flank, unit of warriors. On their right flank, unit of warriors. In the middle, unit of warriors. And then the Hearthguard that are being upgraded to berserkers. So their armor drops to 3 and they get 4 attacks each. And then their warlord, obviously, just regular warlord. That is the game. The Vikings are trying to get into the Irish village. 6 turns to do it. Normal rules across everything else. Let's have a look at the dice roll. As usual, Irish will be on white, Vikings will be on blue. Let's get on with the game. 6 turns. So here is the dice roll for the beginning of the turn. Irish white, Vikings blue. Let's see who goes first. It is the Irish. Well, I'm not sure what they're going to do, but anyway, so they've got 6 Saga dice, 2, 4, 6 to start the game with, and let's see what they decide to do. So here's what I've decided to do for the Irish turn 1. Or I snake into the combat pool, snake onto the Blood of Kings, just in the off chance that, I mean, it's a melee or shooting reaction. I can leave that there. Hopefully, I might get to be able to use it during the Vikings turn. I've done Heirs of Mill, it's an orders reaction, so that gets used in the opponent's turn. Bantered Whispers and Sons of Dana for the shooting. That's going to happen probably on this unit here, or that unit of berserkers over there. Anyway, so that's what we've done. I did get this moose, which I've allocated to Sons of Dana. I could have used the moose on the activation pool to give me 2 extra dice, but I mean, we're not going anywhere, we're not going to do anything, we're just going to sit back in our houses, so I didn't see the need for massive numbers of dice that really I'm not going to use on the board. So anyway, let's get on with the first turn. So you can chill out over there on the left flank of the Irish. All we're going to do, I haven't allocated any dice to the activations. I've just put them onto the battle board. The Warlord is going to activate. He's going to use We Obey. They're going to move first. He's going to obviously do that on the Hounds. And they're going to leg it out here. Just to... And these guys can come across. I don't really want them too close. Within 6. Let's just bump back a little bit. Because we can move long. They can move 6. We can pre-measure everything we need to. I just want to run a little screen along here. So these guys are going to charge 6, so that's out of charge range. I want to put a little screen across there with those guys, and the Warlord's going to boot up with them 6 inches just behind them. Still within medium, which is very nice, and still within short if he needs to. There we go. That's the only activation that would have done. Let's go to our battle board. I'm going to use Sons of Dana, and we're going to have some shots on these guys. So Sons of Dana is half the numbers of men in the unit. Is the number of shots that we get against them. So there's 8 guys, 8 warriors in that unit. We're going to get 4 shots against them. We're going to need 4s to hit. And because it was a moose that I sacrificed, we get a +1 to the attack dice. It's a +1 bonus to the attack dice. It's not +1 dice, it's +1 to the bonus. So I'm only going to need 3s. Let's get closer and see if we can take a couple of them out. So here we are, a little bit closer. Sons of Dana, so we've got 4 shots against this unit of warriors. They have armor 4, so normally we'd need to roll 4s. In this case, because I sacrificed or I spent a moose dice to use this ability, I'm only hitting on 3s. And that's only 2 hits. That's okay. So, hang on a second. Let's just put those back. 1 and 2. I would have done this, even though it's going to make no difference. I was going to use Bantered Whispers. So I'm going to sacrifice that, and that gives me any that score a 6 consists of 2 hits instead of 1. So in this case, I only got 2. I'm just going to quickly check that dice roll because I think there was a 6 there. And if I don't check it, someone's going to notice in the video, so let's come back in just a second. No, the dice roll was a 1 and a 2 and 2 5s. So that's okay. 2 hits on the unit of Viking warriors. They'll save themselves from shooting on a 4+. 1 save, 1 guy dies, and that is our Sons of Dana ability done. So that looks like it's the end of the Irish's first turn. Not a great deal. They're still bunkering down in their houses. The Hounds have moved out to this flank here just to take care of those guys, and we'll see what the Vikings decide to do here. Viking turn 1, so they've got their 6 Saga dice. Let's roll these up and see what we can allocate out. So immediately a couple of S's, very useful for me. That's going to go straight on activation pool. Maybe something else funky over here. Anyway, let's put them on the board and see what happens. Right, so here we go. This is what we've decided to do. A couple of activations. Obviously, our activation pool, which we'll do in a minute. Thor, which allows us to fight another battle after we finish a melee. And Heimdall, which obviously gives us the extra attack dice but reduces our armor. So let's spend our activation pool to roll 2 extra dice. And 2 more Fs. That's okay. Let's allocate those out. And then the first turn for the Vikings will pretty much consist of some sort of pincer over here, whilst those berserkers go somewhere over there to meet up with those guys and come in. Who knows? Let's find out. Right, Toast. So those extra combat dice, Saga dice, we just allocated out to a couple more activations, and I think I put it on Frigg. Anyway, that's not important. Let's get on with the Vikings turn 1. We're going to do something. We're going to play this first turn pretty aggressively. So we're going to activate this unit of Hearthguard here, and we're going to move those straight across the board here, straight into the middle. They'll go one. Yeah, they will go 1 move there. Fuck, I hope I've done this right. I haven't. No. Let's put them back. We'll get my dice back. We'll activate this unit of warriors first. And I just want to get these guys up just to threaten the side of these doggies here. So they'll go up there 6 inches, sort of somewhere around there. Or so. The Warlord is going to activate and he's going to use We Obey. So he's going to push forward 6 inches. And then these guys are going to go forward 6 inches. That's those guys. Our warriors out here on this flank are going to activate, and they're going to move in to about here. So I hope you can see sitting out there on your armchair, way out there on the Vikings' right flank. So that's those two moves. We're going to activate these guys again. They're going to move in here, somewhere around here or so. That's going to earn them a point of fatigue for their second movement. What else are we doing? That's that. And we're going to activate them a third time and charge them into combat with the warlord right here. And that's going to earn them another point of fatigue. So they'll go in there relatively tired, but we're in there. And the Vikings are pissed off. We need a victory, damn it. So fuck it. We're going to go straight after the warlord. Let's get in there and see what happens. So here's our combat for the Vikings. 4 attacks each for the Viking berserkers. The Irish warlord has a Dane axe. So let's have a look at some battle board abilities before we get into determining numbers of dice, because the Vikings will have some business here. Okay, why don't we just brutal? So we'll do this frig. Discard this dice to immediately remove 1 fatigue from any one of your units engaged in this melee, and I gain 1 attack dice. So that's an extra dice, and I'll remove 1 of those fatigue. We'll go Heimdall. That's giving me an extra 4 attack dice. Actually, do I need all these attack dice? No, I don't. I just want to get rid of 1 of those fatigue, and I'm going to go with Thor, which is going to allow me to have another melee after this one. So we'll remove 1 of these fatigues. I'll get 4 attack dice per Viking, so we'll roll those twice, plus an extra 1 which we'll roll once. The Vikings are looking for 4s. Warlords normally have an armor 5. This guy has armor 4 because of his Dane axe, so they're looking for 4s at the moment. The Irish battle board, let's have a quick look at that one. So here we go. I totally forgot, and this is part of the problem of playing against yourself. I could have used this Heirs of Mill, and no doubt I assigned the dice to prevent somebody from attacking one of our units, and I'm playing myself. It's hard to remember what I'm doing, so we've missed out on that. But we will use Blood of Kings. And just because we're up against a fight, we'll use this combat pool as a reaction. I don't know if I can do that. Someone might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, and just to add an extra combat dice. He will also use this last remaining fatigue on the berserkers too. They have armor 3. He has armor 4. He's facing a lot of incoming attacks. He'll increase his armor to 5. Alright, let's go back around with our Vikings over here. So we're going to roll these dice twice. We're looking for 5s. And we get 1 6. Not fantastic so far. So we've got 1 hit so far. And 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. 5 hits. Plus an extra dice from our business that we rolled before. No. So we're getting 5 hits on those guys. The Irish warlord, he's hitting on 3s. And that's a miss. 1, 2, 3. He's got 4 hits on those guys. And I think that's the combat dice at this stage. Battle board abilities. Yep, that's it. So let's roll up the berserker hits on the Irish warlord. Savings on 5s. 1, 2, 3. Ignores the first one. Blood of the Kings ignores the second one. He doesn't take any wounds. There we go. Stubborn bastard. Alright, so the Vikings, took 4 wounds. Their savings on 5s also. 1, 2, 3. One of them dies. So we'll pop one of those guys back. I also believe the Vikings played Thor, so before any fatigue gets allocated out, we'll immediately have another round of combat. So here we are from the Irish perspective. He's racked up his 5 attack dice. The Vikings have another 12 attack dice, again for each. No battle board abilities this time. So the Berserkers are hitting the Irish Warlord on 4s. Let's roll those up. We're looking for 4s. Jesus. I think this warlord is fucking dead. Alright, that's a shitload of hits there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Rightio. 2 misses. The warlord, he's hitting these guys on 3s. Oh, you fucking tripping. Look at this shit, 5 1s. The Irish are going to lose this game. It's foreseen. The saga has already started to be written. Okay, here we go. Savings on 5s. We've lost the dice. Let's get that back. Savings on 5s. This dude's dead. Saves, ignores the first one. Takes a wound and dies. Takes another wound and dies. Takes another wound and dies. This dude has been mashed. Mashed. Alright, Vikings, first turn. Killed the warlord. Now let's annihilate the village and get some redemption. Well, there you have it. Holy shitballs. The Viking berserkers have earned themselves some fatigue, but I don't think they really care. They've done an amazing job. Let's take these 2 dice from the battle board. Oh shit, we've only got 4 dice. We've lost our warlord. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 units left, so I'm only getting 4 saga dice. Shit, this could be a tough game. And we're into turn number 2. It's only a 6-turn game. It's supposed to be pretty quick. It's supposed to be brutal. And the Vikings are pissed off. They've lost 2 warlords and 2 raiding parties to these bloody Irish. So here we go. Couple of geese, some moose. Okay, let's see what we can do. Right, here we go. We've got our activation pool. Eagle Eye, which means that any shooting attacks, if the result is a 3 or higher, it gets +1 to the dice. So that's useful if I need to get 4s or 5s. Then I roll a 3 or more. We'll get to it. Fucking Sons of Dana. Activation for some Hearthguard. Let's get this activation pool done because we kind of need a few extra dice. So we get 2 more from that. Another snake and another goose. Alright, let's activate those out. They may help a little bit. And then we'll get on with the Irish second turn. Okay, so we've finished up with Bounced Whispers, which is another shooting special ability, and it's an activation for a unit of warriors. So let's set up on one of the flanks and get these guys moving around, and hopefully we can take out a few more of these Vikings before we need to start defending these buildings. Okay, once again out in that left flank, because whilst there will be some action over here, we need to get these Hearthguard out of that building, so I'm going to activate them. Now, we want to get them out of that building. We need to get them up through here. So now, normally when you move through uneven ground, everything on this table is considered uneven ground. Normally when you move through uneven ground, your movement is reduced from medium to short. But this is the fucking Irish's village. They know where their buckets are. They know where their benches are. They know what's around their building. So I'm going to say that they can move their full normal rate through their own fucking village. So from the edge of the building, they can move straight out, their normal movement. So that brings them to just outside the boundaries of their village. So this is the unit of Irish Hearthguard with Dane axes. That's them done. We want to get this, before we move those guys, let's use Sons of Dana to have a round of shooting against this unit of warriors. So there's 8 of them. So just like before, we're going to get 4. Let's get a little closer and see what happens with those guys. Here we are. So like I said, it is a round of shooting. So they get 4 attack dice. The attack dice are equal to half the number of men in the unit being shot at. It is a round of shooting, so we can use some battle board abilities. We're going to use both of these. Bounced Whispers, so 6 count as 2 hits, and anything with a 3 or more is +1 to the dice roll, so that just helps increase my chances because I need 4s to hit these guys. So in this case I need 3s, and 6s are 2 hits. 1, 2, 3 hits. No 6s unfortunately, so I've got 3 hits against them. They will save themselves on 4s from shooting, so let's roll those up. Saves 1 of them. 2 guys die. So let's take these 2 guys out of the game, and that's that activation. Now, our doggies. Let's spend that dice, and we'll move these guys into combat. We'll do these closest ones first. We'll get these guys all in here, and then we'll start rolling some dice. So this little setup here might be an omen of things to come. These 2 Vikings quite conveniently stabbing these 2 doggies that I just pushed into the unit. So anyway, we will find out. Those doggies are charging in with 8 attack dice, hitting on 4s. The Warriors from the Vikings only have 7 of them, but they're hitting on 3s. The doggies have slightly less armor, but they can move further. So let's roll the doggies first. We're looking for 4s with these guys. Oh, you're fucking shitting me. None. Absolutely none. Right, that's no good. The Vikings are getting trounced. Now, the Vikings, they're hitting on 3s. Yeah, look at this crazy shit. 1 miss. 2, 4, 6 hits on the doggies. In melee, they're saving on 5s. It's unpredictable, isn't it? Look at this, 4 6s, 2 doggies die. The doggies lose the combat and they must withdraw, so let's get rid of 2 of these doggies. We'll withdraw them, give fatigue to everybody, and that's the end of the Irish second turn. Viking second turn, and again, I could have used Heimdall during that combat, but you know, playing yourself, it's hard to remember what's going on. So anyway, so we'll take that dice and 5 others, because the Vikings still have all 6 of their Saga dice. So let's roll these. I'm feeling confident for this Viking. Oh, this is a good roll for the Viking game, so that's immediately going to go on my activation pool. So let's just spend that right now and roll the other 2 dice straight away. Okay, that's cool. So this is what we've got to play with for the Vikings in their second turn. So the Viking turn 2 is a little tricky because we don't get any activation dice to activate our warriors, and we've got 3 units of warriors. So we've spread a few things around here. A couple of activation for the half guard, Njord, Thor, and Ulra. And one of these bees into the combat pool because I didn't know where else to put it that I thought might be useful in this turn. So let's set up possibly on this flank this time and see what we do with the Vikings. Right, so we are out on the Vikings' left flank. Now I did want to move these guys, but we don't have any activation dice to move that unit of warriors. We don't have any activation to move this unit of warriors, but we will move them. Using our Warlord, he'll use We Obey to command these guys to move over this way. Just to screen things off here. Let's pop them over here like this actually. We'll pop those guys over there like that. He will then move up behind them over here into this gap, somewhere around about there. I'm now going to spend a dice to activate him again, the Warlord. And I'm just going to move him a couple of inches, sort of closer, yeah, sort of in between the unit of these guys, and that earns him a point of fatigue. Now, we are going to use the Njord Battleboard ability. So I can discard this dice, discard a fatigue from your Warlord, and from all units within medium from him. So that's those guys and that's those guys. So we get rid of all of our fatigue, which is wonderful. Now we will activate our Berserkers and charge them into these doggies. So let's just make sure, let's get these guys over here. They'll come over here, over here, and over here. Alright, that's some combat action right there. This could be upsetting once again for the Irish. So our Berserkers, which as you will remember came in from this way, they've got 12 attack dice, hitting the doggies on 3s. The doggies carrying a point of fatigue, which the Berserkers will use in just a second. Only 5 of those guys are eligible to be in combat. They're also hitting on 3s. The Vikings will use this point of fatigue. Let's have a look at our battle board first, because we've got 12 dice there. We're not going to be able to activate anybody else. We've already done our full movement. Let's just, for the sake of thoroughness, let's go flat out here. So Ulra and Thor, so we get to re-roll our missed hits, and we fight another round of combat if there's anybody left to fight combat with. So let's do that. So the Vikings hitting on 3s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get 5. Plus Ulra allows us to re-roll our misses. Hitting on 3s, was it? Fucking shit. Alright, they're smashing it this game. Smashing it. And they used this fatigue, remember, to increase their armor from 3 to 4. So the doggies are hitting on 4s. And they score 1, 2, 3 hits. And this is not very cocked, but I'm going to say it's cocked because the Irish are getting hammered. It doesn't help anyway. So the Vikings take 3 hits. In combat, they save on 5s. Ha 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 ha, doggies, doggies, doggies. 1, 2, 3 Viking casualties. So they've munched 1, 2, 3 berserkers. And they did take themselves a buttload of wounds. So let's see how many of those wounds cause a little bit of butt hurt. Alright, saving on 5s. 1, 2 saves. But they've taken 2, 4, 6, 8 casualties. And that's enough to wipe out the unit of dogs and the unit of berserkers. No more combat takes place, even though we'd spent some SAGA dice to do it. That is the end of the Vikings' second turn. So Irish third turn, it might seem grim for them at the moment. They have lost their warlord, so that's 2 SAGA dice down. They did lose a unit of doggies, so that's another SAGA dice down. So they're only rolling 3 SAGA dice, but it is turn 3, admittedly, beginning at turn 3. And all they need to do is at the end of the 6th turn, occupy one of these buildings. One person needs to be in these buildings, and that's an Irish victory. The Vikings have to kill everybody and occupy the buildings possibly so no one can get back inside the buildings if people get out of the buildings. Anyway, let's get on with the Irish third turn. With 3 SAGA dice, can they do anything interesting? 2 snakes and a goose. Righto, so once again it gets to the point in the game where I know I'm not playing the Irish properly. Anyway, so we've allocated some combat pool dice because I couldn't find anywhere else to put them. And the activation for our Hearthguard over there, who are going to go straight into those warriors. Now, there's a lot of stuff on this Irish battle board that is shooting, that requires people to be in uneven ground. And right now, there's just not a lot of shooting going on. These guys can throw some javelins. I'll double check the rule on throwing javelins. If you can throw a javelin like as part of shooting, or if it only gets thrown at the end of movement. In either case, it only gets thrown 6 inches, so from the edge of the building, they're not going to be able to hit anything. But I'll check that rule because it might become important. Nonetheless, let's get on with this. We don't need to set up from any flanks here because we're running out of things to do with these poor little Irish chaps. We're going to activate this unit of Hearthguard over here, and we're going to move them into fight this unit of warriors. Now, I've already measured everything, and everything is already in range, and you can pre-measure in SAGA as well, which I read and found out. So everybody's engaged in combat here. These Hearthguard are getting 2 attacks each, so they're rolling 8 dice. These warriors are rolling 1 dice each, so they're getting 6. These guys have some Dane axes, so they're hitting the warriors on 3s. The warriors are hitting these guys on 4s. Anyway, let's get some dice. There will be some battle board abilities. Let's get this sorted. Dice first. 8 dice for the... 8 dice for the Irish. 6 dice for the Vikings. Combat pool gives the Irish another 2 dice. Combat pool gives the Irish another 2 dice. A Viking attack pool gives them another dice. There we go, we've got our dice. The Irish are hitting on 3s. And they score a bunch of hits, only missed twice, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8 hits on the Vikings. The Vikings are hitting on 3s also. No, 4s, sorry, these are Hearthguard. Normally I'm a 5, but I'm a 4 because I've got Dane axes. So we need 4s. We've missed. We got 2 hits against them. Okay, so let's do the Irish defense first. They don't save. They need 5s or more in combat. 2 of the Irish Hearthguard die. Same thing for the Vikings. They need 5s to save themselves. And they get 1, 2, 3. But they take 2, 4, 5 casualties. Yes, I know I removed the 6 there, but the numbers are right. They took 3, they saved 3. So they take 2, 4, 5 casualties. 3, 4, 5. Only one dude remains. Anyway, he flees away. We get fatigue all around here. And that's not too bad for some Irish defence. It is now looking, actually, believe it or not, a little grim for the Vikings. Because like I said at the beginning of the Irish turn 3, which is now over, and we're about to have a look from this side of the board at the Irish turn 3, the Viking turn 3, they need to clear out these buildings in 6 turns to win. It is the beginning of their 3rd turn. This fucking unit over here has done jack shit. It needs to boot its ass all the way over here, kill those guys, kill whoever's in the building, hope they don't get out of the building and get in that one. These guys need to go kill whoever's in that building. Still 2 full units of warriors. We'll see. Can the Vikings do it? Maybe I should have pushed a little harder. Vikings turn 3. It might seem a little unfair, but we're still getting a SAGA dice for this guy. So that means we get 5 because we've only lost 1 complete unit, and those were the berserkers that died before. Let's roll these dice and find out what the Vikings can do during their 3rd turn. Okay, let's immediately spend that, and we'll roll 2 extra dice for our activation pool. I don't know why I always do that. It probably would have been good to keep that for something else. Who knows? This is what we've got to play with. Righto, so this is how the Vikings are going to play their 3rd turn. Couple of warrior activations. The Hearthguard activation, which is going to be for a Warlord. 2nd activation, Thor, Ulra. That's what we've got going on. Let's get the camera up onto the tripod, or let's say that you're sitting in one of on the hills observing, running your SAGA, rather than the tripod. That's a bit fucking lame. Alright, anyway, that's it. Yeah, these guys are going to assault that building. This guy's going to sort of run away, so we're going to lose the SAGA dice, and we need to move those guys in. Let's have a look at it happen. And there ye be, perched on your mountain. Okay, so let's spend this dice to activate this unit of warriors. We want to bring these guys in. I don't know what I was thinking, sticking them out over here on this flank. It was such a waste of space. I can't occupy 2 different buildings with the same unit. Otherwise, I'd boot down this side, jump into that building, leave a couple of guys there, so whoever is in this building can't jump out and get into this building. But either way, we could be playing tag there. Who knows? So we're going to move those guys up there. I want to use the Warlord. I'm going to activate him, and we're going to use We Obey. He's going to ask these guys to move forward to the village, and they're going to move sort of just up to the edge of the village, which they can just make. So that's those guys getting up there. He's going to go with them to the edge of the village. That's those guys up there. I do have another warrior activation. I can activate this guy and like flee him this way so I can save the SAGA dice and let these guys sort of either chase him down or worry about this unit that's coming in. Or I can sacrifice the SAGA dice, seems we're getting close to the end of the game, or at least what I think is close to the end of the game, given that it's only halfway through. But I still need to clear these buildings, which is going to be tough. Do I spend it on this unit to move them in? I'm going to spend it on this unit to move them in, again, to here. So we'll move those guys in here. That gives them an extra point of fatigue. And that is my warrior activations. I'm now going to spend this last activation on the Hearthguard to activate my Warlord. He is going to charge this building and declare side by side, so that these guys will go in with him. So this dude is actually inside the building, so let's get him out of the way. So the way that buildings and terrain work in SAGA is fairly simple. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to worry about where doors and windows and stuff are. These are wooden buildings, mud buildings. They're just smashing holes in it with their weapons. So these guys are going to go up here. So it doesn't matter. The guys inside can fight out. These guys can fight in. They can shoot out. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not that pedantic. So there we go. There's going to be that assault there. That's everything else. let's sort out some dice and talk about the hard cover and the benefits for the guys inside the building. So here are the dice all sorted out for our Viking assault against the building. Maybe we should be on the Viking side of the assault. Here we go. So the Vikings are assaulting this building. The Warlord's bringing with him 5 dice. There are 7 warriors coming into combat. So these are the Viking dice over here. We are going to spend Ulra to re-roll our misses for the warriors. We will also use Thor to have another round of combat before any fatigue gets allocated against the dudes inside the building. So that's the dice over here. Re-rolling these ones that miss, and we fight another round of combat. Who will fight another round of combat? The warriors will fight another round of combat. Again, there's 2 different units here, and the battle board abilities are only played on a specific unit. So they're all going on the warrior. Now, the Irish. There's 8 guys inside this building, 8 warriors, so they're generating 1 attack dice each. This is the first time in this game, and probably the first time since these 2 factions have been fighting. One of them is going to play defensively. So normally you declare any number of attack dice. In this case, I'm going to split it in half. I'm going to play defensively. So when you play defensively, you take half of your attack dice away, and for every 2 attack dice you take away, don't forget fractions and stuff always round up, I get 1 dice for defense. So we'll take those away. I've taken 2 more attack dice away, so I get a defense dice. So these are my attack dice. These 2 dice I'll keep in reserve for my defense, and we'll see that in just a minute. So the Vikings are hitting the warriors inside the building on 4s. The hard cover comes into play when they make their saving throws. So they get to re-roll their misses, don't forget. So there's 3 hits and 4 misses. We get to re-roll these, looking for 4s. Geez, that's bloody good, isn't it? So there's 6. The Warlord is also hitting on 4s. But he doesn't get to re-roll any, so he brings an extra 2 to the battle. There's no difference in weaponry or anything like that, so we can just combine all of these together as hits. We'll get rid of that dice there. So they're all the Irish hits. The Irish are hitting back only with 4 dice, and they are going to fight the warriors. It doesn't make sense for us to attack the Warlord, because the Warlord's got resilience, so he gets the shrug wounds off. He's also got a whole bunch of people around him, which he can sacrifice using the other special rule. I can't remember what it's called. But he gets to sacrifice guys around him. Any non-levy models, I think it is. I can't remember the rule. I'm not worried about it because I'm attacking the warriors. So I'm hitting those guys on 4s. And we get 2 hits on those guys. Okay, so these guys will save themselves on 5s, the warriors. 2 of the Viking warriors die. The Irish inside the building have taken a bunch of hits. Now, normally from melee they save on 5s, but this time, because they're in a building and hard cover, they save on 4s. So hopefully we can save a bunch of them, if not everything. No, we take 1, 2, 3 casualties inside the building. There we go. So we've lost 1, 2, 3 Irish from inside the building. Even though the Vikings scored more casualties... Oh, hang on. Wait a second. I had a bunch of defense dice as well. Let me go back and figure out what that roll was. Here we go. So I don't need to worry about that too much. I've taken 3 casualties so far, but I had an extra 2 defense dice. So the defense dice get added to your saving throws, essentially. So I took a whole bunch of wounds, a whole bunch of hits. I get to roll to try and save against those hits, and then with my defense dice, I get to add those to my roll as well. I've got to add them in, so I'm going to roll them separately, and saving on 4s. So one of those guys that died has been saved miraculously, and I lost 2 guys in that combat. Now, because the Vikings haven't won the combat, they haven't cleared anyone out from the building, they have to retreat back from the building and charge back next turn. So that's going to be in the Irish's fourth turn. Here we go. So point of fatigue for the Warriors, point of fatigue for the Warlord, point of fatigue for the guys inside the building. There we go, that's the Vikings, third turn. Right, oh, where we at? We are at turn 4, represented by the dice, not the 4 broken shields. 3 attack dice for the Irish. We still have 1 unit in the building, 2nd unit in that building, this 3rd unit out there, so we're still getting our 3 SAGA dice. A goose, snake. Let's see what we can happen with those guys. Not much, we're just chilling back in our buildings. We might do something with this guy, rush him out there, try and clean up that SAGA dice. I don't know. Let's figure out what to do with these first. Okay, limited options once again, but we do need to activate these guys just to clean up that SAGA dice. We need to kill that guy. Yeah, to get rid of that Viking SAGA dice, to drop them down a little bit. I put another dice on Sons of Dana, so we can hopefully pickle a few of these guys off from those rocks over there. And we've got oh shit, I don't have enough attack dice, fuck. Alright, I put it on Bantered Whispers, but I might move that. Because I need to activate my warriors inside this building to shoot those guys on the outside of the building. And I can't do that with no dice. Fuck it. How do we do this? Put the goose up there, move that down there. Okay, so there we go. That's what's happening. A couple of activations. Sons of Dana. Let's get Sons of Dana done first, because we can do that very easily. It's an activation, so we can do it on that unit there. We're getting 4 dice. On the warriors, we're hitting on 4s. 1, 2 hits. Oh wow, if I'd kept that on Bantered Whispers and used it, instead of being 2 hits right now, it would have been 4. But anyway, there's our 2 hits. These guys will save from shooting on 4s. One of them saves, 1 guy dies, so be it. Thank you very much for coming along to the party, Viking. So that's those guys. That's Sons of Dana. Let's activate these guys. They're going to go attack this guy. They're getting 2 dice each. Are they getting 2 dice each? They are. They're getting 2 dice each, so that's 4. Versus he's just a warrior, so here's 1. I've got no battle board abilities. The Vikings have no battle board abilities. I'm going to use his fatigue to increase my armor. What am I on? Half guard 5, so that goes to 6. I might use his to drop his. No, I'll use it to increase mine to 6. So he's hitting me on 6s. He's going to use this fatigue on my unit to drop it back to 5. Let's just keep it simple. It's a stupid little unit anyway, and all it represents is a SAGA dice for me at the moment. So I'm hitting warriors on 4s. 3 6s will hit him a couple of times quite nicely. He's hitting me on 5s. He hits me once, so I'm saving on 5s. I do save it. Those 2 half guard are fine. He saves on 5s. He saves one of them, but takes 2 wounds and dies. So that cleans up that SAGA dice. These guys get a point of fatigue. Now, what else do we have on our battle board? We've got the unit of warriors activating inside this building. Now, when they pushed these guys back, these guys had to go at least short away, at least 4 inches away from the building. At least very short, I think it is. Up to short, and at least very short. So I know they're 4 inches away. I don't need to measure this. There are 6 guys inside this building. There they are. They're going to throw their javelins at these guys outside. So let's organise some dice, and hopefully we can pick a few of these guys before they come storming back in again for another assault. Right, here we go. We've got our 3 attack dice. There's 6 warriors in the building. They get 1 shot per 2 guys. So there's 6 of them. That equals 3. There are no battle board abilities to use. We don't worry about fatigue during shooting. There's no cover. We're throwing our javelins out some holes we've made in the side of that building, and we're hitting on 4s. 1 hit, and he saves that hit on a 4, which does not do. So thanks very much for coming to the party. You can join your dead men over there on your way to Valhalla. Okay, that is the end of the Irish. Turn 4. Cleaned up a SAGA dice over there, or killed that last Viking, and I removed the SAGA dice from them. Pickled 1 guy for them. Pickled 1 guy for them. And we'll hand it over to the Vikings for the beginning of their turn 4. The Vikings are getting 4 dice, and they will... do I want to use this for something? I don't think I need any activation dice. Otherwise I could spend this on my activation pool and roll another 2 dice, which is always good, but I've got no guarantee that I'm going to get another S, and that S is useful in this case for removing that fatigue on my warlord before he goes into combat. Let me think about what to do. We might allocate these dice out or roll some more. Anyway, I'll show you that in just a second. Ho ho, okay, so we haven't re-rolled that dice. We're sticking it on Yord. Activation for some Hearthguard, the Herdmen, which we don't have. That's going to be for a second activation for the Warlord. A couple of activations for the Warriors. So basically we want these guys to get up into that building again. We want these guys to move closer. He's going to move over and support them. Then they're all going to try and storm that building. So I'm pretty sure I've measured everything and understand what my plan is. So let's see if it works. Okay, everybody. We're closer on the action here now, so let's see if this works out properly. Okay, so we're going to spend an activation dice for a unit of warriors. That's going to be this unit of warriors. I'm going to move this guy up to here, and everyone else is going to sort of slowly come with him up this way. That's those guys. We are going to activate our warlord for free, and he is going to boot across this way to about here. We are then going to that's alright. We will use Njord, our dice on Njord, our special ability, to remove a point of fatigue from our warlord and a point of fatigue from anyone within medium of him. So we'll get rid of those 2. We will now spend a warrior activation on these guys to assault this building again. So we'll just move these guys in up to here. They're all fighting the dudes inside that building. Wonderful. So let's get some dice sorted out and we'll resolve this melee. So here's that melee. There are only 4 warriors going in. They generate 1 dice each. They have a point of fatigue. There are 6 guys still in the building, so they generate 6 dice. They have a point of fatigue. There are no battle board abilities at the moment, and I'm just going to cancel these fatigues out because I can't outfool myself with the fatigue. So they're just going to cancel them out. These guys are raising their armor, and these guys are using it to drop it back to normal. So that's what we're doing. So these guys are hitting the warriors inside the building on 4s, and they score 1, 2 hits. The one doesn't no good. So 2 hits on the Irish, and the Irish are hitting these guys also on 4s, and they score 3 hits. 1, 2, 3. That's a miss, miss, miss. So the Vikings outside the building save themselves on 5s. 1, 2 saves. 1 guy dies. So have a good trip to Valhalla, little man. And the Vikings, the Irish inside the building save themselves on 4s. Okay, we lose another 2. Still haven't cleared the building. The Irish can't occupy it until it's empty. So they need to withdraw from this combat or disengage. And everyone earns a point of fatigue again. So that's that combat. Now, right, this scenario over here. Let's get this sorted out. We're basically going to spend this dice to activate our warlord. He's then going to use, and I need to double check the distance here. I might be incorrect on my rule. He's going to attempt to charge this building, and he's going to attempt to use side by side on these guys. Now I'm hoping that side by side is a medium distance, but I've got a feeling it might be short. Let's check that. Find out if I can actually assault that building or if I've just wasted a saga dice to potter him around. But in the meantime, let's check that. Let's move these guys back. Let's give them some fatigue and see if we can get onto that building. Because we're running out of time. Well, there we have it. It is short. So side by side uses the we obey. It's a variant of the we obey rule, and that is a short distance away, not a medium like I was hoping that was going to be. So there is no assault on that building from these guys, and now we have to worry about these Irish Hearthguard right here. All right, that's the end of the Vikings' 4th turn. 2 turns left. Can they do it? Shit, it's coming down to it, isn't it? Turn 5, 3 saga dice. We're still getting 3, 2 snakes, and a goose. Nobody is anywhere near some uneven ground. That's a non-building uneven ground for Sons of Dana to work. So I guess we're just going to have an activation for this unit to shoot at that unit. I'm hoping that this unit here is 4 inches away. Oh, easy, easy, easy done. 6 inches there, javelins go, so we can shoot at that unit. So let's do this. So we've got a unit of Hearthguard, 2 units of warriors. That's our activation. Let's do the warriors first. We're going to activate those guys. We're going to move them into combat and charge these guys. So that's pretty simple. Let's get that done and get some combat dice. Pretty simple stuff. Let's organise some dice. So here we go. We've got the Hearthguard with the Dane axes coming in. They're getting 4 dice and hitting the Irish on 3s. The Irish have 7 men, but only 6 of them are within range or can be considered engaged in this combat. So they're generating 1 dice each and they get 6. They're currently hitting those Hearthguard on 4s. They get a point of fatigue to play with, which they might spend to drop their armour to 3s. So everyone's hitting everyone on 3s. So let's roll this up. They're hitting on 3s. And we get 4 hits on the Vikings. Bam. These guys also hitting on 3s. They get 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Miss, miss. Yep, they get 4 hits on the Irish. So the Irish save themselves on 5s. Nothing special about them saving on 5s. They do not. So the Irish are all dead. The Vikings save on 5s. And they make 1 save and 3 of them die. So that's our 2 Irish dead. We lost 3 Vikings in that assault. And we're left with a unit of 4. Now, let's activate the unit that's inside this building. So we'll spend our dice to do that. There's still a full complement of 8 guys inside this building. So they generate 4 attack dice. Let's just double check. Yeah, the unit's easily in range. So we're hitting on 4s. Hey, 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 4 hits. Lovely stuff. And no cover or anything for these guys, so they will save themselves from shooting on 4s. 2 saves, 2 more of these guys die, and it's terrible, terrible business for those guys. They also have a point of fatigue, which we mustn't forget about. And the guys in this building now also, they get a point of fatigue. So good job on that unit for the Irish. This is the last unit inside here for this activation dice. Excuse me. So, not looking too bad. We've got, 4 guys inside this building. So they'll get 2 shots on those guys. Hitting on 4s. 1 hit. They will save themselves on a 4. Which they do not. 1 of these guys die. Now, I think I said before that these guys got a point of fatigue. They did not. They only had 1 turn of shooting. They didn't move, didn't do anything else. These guys got a point of fatigue because they were involved in melee, but not these guys. So they're fine. Don't know why these guys have fatigue. They shouldn't have fatigue. I think I might have given it to them because I thought they shot with them. I'm going to take it away. They don't... Oh no, they were involved in the melee. That's right. Let's leave that there. Okay, that's the Irish. 5th turn. The Vikings have 2 turns to clear these guys out of the building. I think it's unlikely. Alright, so now that we've cleaned up the battlefield of our dead and our casualties from the last round and dice and all that sort of stuff, it's pretty clear the Vikings have got a very slim chance of taking, excuse me, this Irish village. There are 5 of them left on the board versus the 4 guys inside that building and the 8 guys inside that building. Nonetheless, we're still getting 2, 3, 4 Saga dice. Where are our Saga dice? Here we go. Saga dice, what can we do for the Vikings? Turn 5. Alright. Let me think about it. I might re-roll this as part of my activation pool. You spend that S, roll 2 more dice, hope for another S, hope for 2 more S's. We'll see. Oh, God, it's close. I needed 3 guys in that unit to kill it with Loki. But it's got 4. Alright. Let me think about it, and we'll allocate these in a second. So I'm struggling to think about what to do here. There's a lot of guys, so I am going to spend this dice. I'm going to allocate it to my activation pool. This dice, geez, I'm hoping this is going to work out. I'm going to allocate that to Ulra. I'm going to spend this dice to roll 2 more. Brilliant. So I can put that on there. And this F, not exactly what I wanted it to need or to be, but that goes over here. Alright, that's our activations for the turn 5 with the Vikings. It's tough, but I want them to win, damn it. Come on, let's kill these bloody Irish suckers. Alright, so I don't think we need to be sitting on the mountain to finish writing the rest of this saga. There's not a lot going on, so we're going to spend this dice for these warriors to once again move in and assault this building. So let's get them in there. They're only generating 2 dice versus they're generating 2 dice. Let's get the right coloured dice out versus the 4 from the Irish, the 4 guys that are still inside the building. I'm not going to worry about the fatigue because I'm just going to call that cancel out. I do have Heimdall, which gives me 3 extra attack dice and reduces my armor, so there's a good chance that they'll die. And I can re-roll my hits in this turn. Hopefully that clears that building now. Then I've got those guys to assault that building, and hopefully I can kill a couple of those guys. There's still 7 of them in there. There's still 8 of them in there. Hopefully I can kill a couple without losing anyone. And the next turn I need to kill everybody who's inside that building. Ah, fuck it. Ah, I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to use this Heimdall. That gives me 3 extra, 1, 2, 3 attack dice. So that's giving me 5 Viking dice versus the 4 Irish. I'm also going to use Ulra, which allows me to re-roll the misses. So here we go. The Vikings are hitting the guys inside the buildings on 4s. That's 3 hits. Re-roll the misses. Brilliant. That's 2 more, so that's all 5 hits. Now, the guys inside the building are hitting the Vikings on 3s because of Heimdall. They're a bit more reckless, so their armor is reduced by 1. 3 hits on the Vikings. Do they die? They save themselves on 5s. 1 save. 2 wounds. 2 guys die. The Irish, there's 5 hits here. They save themselves on 4s. They save 2. Take 3 wounds. Ah, shit. And there's still 1 guy left inside the building. Right. Next. These guys. Okay, so not much we can do here except activate these guys and assault that building. So I've only got 1 dice left on the battle board, so it's just going to be straight up fight. There's 2 guys, so they'll bring 2 dice with them. Now, technically, once they get to the edge of this, it's a rough ground or uneven ground, and it slows their movement. But you know what? They're so close and they're so pissed off and fucking angry that they're going to get in there. They're going to roll 2 dice against the guys in the building. They've got a point of fatigue, so the guys inside the building will use that point of fatigue to reduce their armor from 4 to 3. There's, 8 dudes inside that building, so instead of being prepared, let's just do this on the spot. So they're hitting the Vikings on 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4 hits against the Vikings. The Vikings are hitting those guys on 4s. Oh shit, I think I reduced their armor, didn't I? No, okay, I can't remember. We've already made the roll. 4 hits on the Vikings. They spent the Vikings' armor to increase their armor to 5, so they're hitting on 5s. 1 hit. They save themselves inside the building on 4s, which they do not, so we kill 1 of them. And these guys took 4 hits. They saved themselves on 5s. 1, 2, 3. So 1 guy dies, so there's still 1 guy. There he retreats back. We'll give him some fatigue. You can have that fatigue. You can die. We'll kill 1 of these guys inside the building. That guy who's popped his head outside the door is good enough. That's that. The Warlord gets a free activation using his determination. He gets to move 6. It's very close. I'm just going to say that he's within range, which he is anyway. So he's going to attack the building. He's generating 5 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shite. Versus the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inside the building. He's going to hit these guys on 4s. It's no battle boards or anything special. Hitting on 4s. He scores 2 hits. That's crappy. 2 hits on those guys. They're hitting him on 5s. And they score 2 hits. He's saving those hits on 5s, which he does. Cancels both of them, not a problem. They're saving on 4s, which they do, not a problem. So he needs to retreat and 4 inches or so. He gets a point of fatigue. And that's the end of the Vikings' 5th turn. Last turn for the Irish. 6th turn. Not much to do except throw some javelins at people. Last turn for the Irish. 2 Saga dice. A geese and a snake. Okay. That's... okay. Allocate 1 to the Warriors. And that geese will go to Bantered Whispers. Okay, this dude inside the building is sitting tight. He's got no activation dice anyway. So he's just going to sit there. This unit inside that building is going to activate. So we'll activate them. We'll declare a shooting shot against the Warlord. No. Against this unit. Yep, he's within range. So we're getting 1, 2, 3, rounding up. 4 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll use Bantered Whispers, which means any 6s score 2 hits. We're hitting him on 4s. There's 1 hit, and that 6 counts as 2, so there's 3 hits against this guy. There's no anything else that's been influenced here that I can see or think of, so he's saving himself on 4s. Which he does save 1 of them, but takes 2 casualties and dies. There we go. That's the activation. 6th turn for the Irish. 5th turn for the Vikings. Who do they have left? The Warlord. There's absolutely no possible way they can win this game, I don't think. Anyway, let's at least let the Warlord have his vengeance and try and kill some more dudes before he either flees or gets killed himself. So is it even worth it? 2 Saga dice for the Warlord. That is the only Viking left on the table. We have 1 Irish inside that building, 7 inside that building. He can't win this game, and that was his victory condition. He needs to clear the buildings. Right, nonetheless, let's go hell for leather here. So we've got 2 dice, this B and this F. He gets a free activation, so let me think about what to do with these. That's going to be the most effective. So hopefully he can kill as many people as possible. Okay, so no activation dice, because he doesn't need it. He gets his free activation anyway, so we're going to go with Heimdall. That's going to give him 3 extra dice and reduce his armor from 5 to 4. And Thor, just so they can fight another round of combat. So let's get this guy in there. We know it's in range, so in he goes. He's going to generate 5 attack dice, plus 3 from Heimdall. There's 7 Irish inside that building, so let's get 7 dice out here. 2, 4, 6, 7 dice. Okay, so we've used that. We're going to use Thor, so there'll be another round of combat after this. And if I killed that last dude there, I'm confident he's going to be able to hammer these guys mildly. Ah, shit. Anyway, alright, so let's get on with it. He's hitting these guys inside the building on 4s. 1, 2, 3 hits on them. Now, we didn't use Aura or anything to re-roll misses, did we? No, because we didn't have enough dice, so they're all misses. We are hitting on 4s. He doesn't have a Danax, no. So there we go, 3 hits on the guys inside the building. They're hitting him on 4s also. Normally 5s, but it's been reduced by 1 because of Heimdall. So on 4s, they get 3 hits also. 3 hits on him. Let's do his hits first. He's saving on 5s. Ah, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Saves 1, ignores the other, takes a wound, and dies. Just for the sake of fucking seeing these guys die on anything less than 5s too. So 1 save, 2 more Irish die, so Yeah, bastards. We're left with 1 Irish in that building. What's left in that building? 5 in that building at the end of turn 6. Game over. Another victory to the Irish. Fucking poor Vikings, man. That's 3 warlords that they've lost. Anyway, I need to calm down for a bit and then we'll have a quick recap. Well, there we go. Fuck me. So, victory conditions. If the attacker's warlord is killed, the game ends immediately with a victory for the defender. Well, that happened in the last turn, so they win. If at the end of 6 turns, which we were at the end of 6 turns, there is at least 1 defender within one of the buildings, the defender wins the game. It's super tough. It is super, super tough. The defender places 3 buildings on any long table edge, and at least, you know, the only thing that I can think would have made this different is if we'd actually deployed the way that the game says. Now, it says, in this scenario, one of the players will defend his village, and the other player will be the attacker. Each player secretly bids how many warband points between 2 and 6 he thinks he needs to defend the village. Both players simultaneously reveal their bid. The player that is ready to defend the village with the least points becomes the defender and his opponent the attacker. If the players tie for the bids, roll a d6 and the highest roller becomes the defender and his opponent the attacker. The defender will only play this scenario with the number of points he has written down. If the defender has already prepared his warband, he might have to remove models from his warband to fit the number of points he has specified on his bid. The attacker gets his regular 6-point warband. So maybe I should have played this game with 3 points of Irish and 4 points of Vikings. Again, I wanted to set it up following this narrative of these battles with the Vikings and the Irish, that the Vikings were coming in. So maybe we will replay this one with 3 points in the buildings and 4 points for the Irish. Maybe we'll give the Irish 6 points and 4 points, 6 points for the Vikings, 4 points for the Irish to defend the buildings and run around a little bit. But fuck, you know what? I'm getting pissed off with these Irish winning all these games. I'm sure if I was playing somebody else, the results would be slightly different because, I mean, I'm thinking in my head how to sort of counteract something, and then I'm thinking, well, if I'm going to do that, then I'll counteract it with this, but then I'll counteract it with that, and it doesn't really work properly, but fuck, it's still fun. It's still fun. And I'm getting to play the rules. I'm reading the rule books in between sort of filming all the little shots and getting familiar with the rules again, and I'm enjoying it. Anyway, I'll have another battle coming up soon. We might play some different factions. Maybe we'll look at another faction that I haven't played yet. I've no idea yet. I don't plan ahead. I do things when I feel like doing them. And maybe at some stage I might sit down and write a schedule of reports for the future, but that's not happening right now. Way too many things for me to think about at work, and lots of planning and all that sort of stuff there. This is time for some relaxing. So I'm out of here. I'm starting to ramble. Thanks for tuning in again for this Irish invasion, or the Viking invasion of the Irish homeland. Another Irish victory. Massacre for the Vikings. Fuck. Till next time, I'll catch ya. See ya.